YouTube Nation, Manfit TV, aka Me TV, aka Negro Dominus is back, and I'm telling you right now, for the previous 2 days, 2 different franchises have proven yours truly right on what he said for 2 seasons now. That's right. In detail, I've been explaining this for 2 seasons. And for those who know, I'm talking about those franchises are the Flyers and the Sixers. Now, I'm telling you how this is going to go today when it comes down to the actual lineup of how we're going to talk about things. So it'll be Flyers, it'll be Sixers, it'll be the NBA Finals, then we'll talk about the Miami Heat, and then the Chicago Blackhawks. Okay? Everyone cool? All right, let's roll. Now, I want to start first with the Philadelphia Flyers. Because for those who don't understand what just happened not too long ago, okay? First, we already knew that Danny Briere was being bought out by the Flyers, which is sad because we don't want to see Danny Briere go, but we understand. And today, that's right, today, Ilya Bryzgalov, that's right, has been bought out. So he is gone from Philly. You know, bye, see ya, go. Don't need you. Don't need you. Okay? Now, I'll put it like this. Since this has happened, I will say this, Paul Holmgren, for the previous about week now, has been talking to Ilya Bryzgalov's agent and saying, we're not going to buy him out. We're not going to buy him out. We're not going to buy him out. Matter of fact, I'll put the link in the info bar from 3 days ago where he assured they're not going to buy him out. And today, they bought him out. Now, for anyone who knows the Flyers, you know and I know that when it comes down to it, when they tell players, you're not going anywhere, you're not being traded, you're not being bought out, etc., 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 you're not being cut, whatever, you should think of the opposite, all right? Because that's what they do. They lie. And this all falls back on Paul Holmgren. Now, I will put it like this. Do I feel bad for Ilya Bryzgalov? Hell no. Hell no. After the things that he has said, which you guys and girls, you know I said in the video how I felt about him. I was still pissed off after his statements and what he said about people here in Philadelphia and the demographic here in Philadelphia that he knows nothing of. That's right. So that's what I'm basing him on. He had to go. I told you before, Ilya Bryzgalov is going against everything that the franchise is about, what Ed Snyder is trying to do. Don't sit here and talk about a demographic being a bunch of welfare munchers and carrying on and just leaking the system, you know, milking the system, where, you know, Ed Snyder is actually going into these bad neighborhoods and building ice hockey rinks so that people who are less fortunate would have a different experience. He's going against everything the owner is about. So yeah, Ed Snyder, pissed off, and I don't blame him. That's why he had to go. You have to understand, a lot of you guys also said that, even in the comments, that this was brilliant of Ilya Bryzgalov because he wanted out of Philadelphia. He did. He couldn't handle the pressure. We knew this. He's ducking pucks. He's talking trash to the media, and then the media's firing back. Now, I want to talk about the media real quick, all right? Because some of you people, it's just, I understand that you're butthurt that Ilya Bryzgalov is gone, and you're trying to make this case for him that he's the victim in all this. Nah, he is not the victim on this. Let's be very clear that he's not the victim in this, all right? Especially since they got to pay him out, what, 26 million or something like that? So don't worry about that. He's going to get paid. He's gone. He's not a victim. But let's get something straight. When you come out here and you tell me that on Twitter, because all you geniuses on Twitter, you got your big fans, and you think that all of a sudden you have this, you know, this following, that you're popular, that you can say whatever the hell you want when you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You want to talk about how the media is being unfair to Ilya Bryzgalov now. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, a lot of the beat writers in for the Flyers have come out now and said that Ilya Bryzgalov if this is true, that he wanted Coach Love fired, that the players don't like him, or he wanted the coach from Phoenix to come in, that he was just saying all types of things bad about the franchise. If these things are true, understand this, because the media cannot win on this one. I'm going to explain, okay? If the media had came out with this story, or these stories, if they are true, during the time that Ilya Bryzgalov was here, you would say, oh, they're just hunting for a story. They're just trying to cause friction within the team, trying to cause drama, and takes away from hockey. That's what you would have said. Now that they're coming out with it now, since Ilya Bryzgalov is gone, now you're going to say, oh, well, they don't need him anymore. They just want to do this, you know, so they can just dump all over him. No. This is what you call confidentiality. That's what it comes down to, if this is true. Now, granted, the media still needs the franchise, so of course they're going to praise the franchise and they're going to throw away the player. I get it. We all get that. But don't all of a sudden, all you clowns all of a sudden on Twitter come out and say, they're being unprofessional. They're being unprofessional. Where have you been? Huh? I've done how many videos on how the media has been unprofessional, and yet not one of you has stepped up. All you big time Twitters, not one of you have come out and said the same thing. Now, all of a sudden, since something happens, now you want to call it. Look, if you want to start calling the media unprofessional, I advise you take a number. Don't give me this. See, this is the difference between me and you. Because I'll give you nothing but the truth. That's what's harsh reality, the hard truth. Well, some of you, are big boys and girls, can't take it. Well, that's on you. Don't come to me with your little phony-ass podcast and, and all of a sudden radio shows, and you're not even talking about anything relevant, not even anything of importance, and yet you want to keep this going on. And it's not all of you. It's not, because some of you have an ego, and some of you don't. So if you're running all these podcasts and all that, that's on you. That's good. That's your hustle. You get what I'm saying? But that's not all of you, but it is a couple of you. And you need to calm it down real quick. The fact is, if you're going to sit here and try to hold Ilya Bryzgalov's hand over this after the things that he has said, there is something wrong with you. There is. Don't sit here and tell me that's okay. I'm glad to see Ilya Bryzgalov is going. And it's like I said on Twitter, when he leaves, fans should be throwing tomatoes at him on the way out for the things that he has said. Like I said, this is not even about hockey. This is outside the ice. That's the problem. He want to go onto the moon or wherever he wants to? Let him. It has nothing to do with us. Some of you Flyers fans are really showing your true colors. You're not Flyers fans. You don't wear the black and orange. You just wear yellow. That's what it comes down to. When you're ready to take on the media like I've been doing, yeah, then we'll talk. But don't all of a sudden start screaming to the high heavens that the media is being unprofessional when this is nothing new. It's about the wording the media is using as opposed to the confidentiality that they're doing. But yet I'm the one that don't have a deal, right? I'm the one that's not signed. I didn't come up with all this stuff, and you know what, we'll talk about this a little bit more, because the Philadelphia 76ers, for those who don't know, I've been telling you guys about CEO Adam for past, 2 seasons, about how his PR campaign for Philadelphia has been bad, how he was just trying to, get fans quick, temporary fans in the seats. Right? Because he wanted to have halftime shows and elaborate, entertainment. When we know that Philly ball is about coming to see basketball. If the product is not there, it doesn't matter how much money you pour into entertainment. We don't care. We don't. I told you before, you had to go down to these neighborhoods. You had to show them that you care. You have to go and you have to, renovate basketball courts and show the basketball community here that you mean business, because that's what keeps fans. But you don't want to hear that. And for those who don't know, on Monday, CEO Adam, yeah. Gone. Fired. That's right. I don't know how many times I can keep doing this. And of course, the media then wants to say, oh, well, yeah, it was a nightmare PR campaign for him. But you didn't mention that during the time it was happening. We see this time and time again. The media will keep their mouths shut and not tell you the truth and feed you garbage until that run ends. Then they will bring all this stuff out. Then they will have their personal opinions. Nobody wants to go against the grain. Nobody wants to really tell you how it is. Because they can't. Because they'll cut off connections, because, if you give any type of criticism, you're a hater. There's a difference between hating somebody and having criticism. Hating is like, I wish you die. I wish this, that. That's hate. But if I'm telling you that I don't like this and I'm giving you 1,000 different reasons in detail why, that's not hating. That's the difference. Some of you really need to learn how to debate, and some of you really need to know how to, I should say learn, not know, because you should know this by now. You really should. But obviously you don't. But you need to learn how to read between the lines. You really have to. This is what the media does. But it seems like unless, everyone's okay with it, as long as we're winning. Doesn't matter what the media is saying, right? Because as you know, the media will praise you when you're winning, and when you're losing, they will kick you down. That's what they do. They're the biggest bandwagoners out of everybody. Haven't you understood that yet? But yet, I'm asleep. 2 weeks in a row, I'm asleep, right? Right? Okay, like I said, this is something that needs to be fixed from both franchises. It does. Now look, at this point, we need a goalie, all right? Why do I feel like Flyers are going to have to give up some players to get a goalie if they cannot really sign someone straight out the bat? That's how I see things. So you had Bobrovsky, and you got rid of him, goes on to win an award this year, right? You get rid of your $56 million man, and now you don't have a goalie, really. So now you're going to have to trade some players to get a good goalie. That's how I feel this is going to go. That's just my first interpretation of things. That's how I feel. As the Sixers, seriously, you need to bring me into the flock. You need to, because obviously you don't know what the hell you're doing. Just because you have a guy in a suit, like I said, doesn't know Philly, doesn't know basketball, you're bringing this guy in and he didn't know what to do. And you paid him a dump truck full of money, and now he's gone. He made his money, he's gone. And yet, we're still at square one. We don't have a coach. We don't have any type of PR campaign. We don't have any leadership whatsoever in the front office. But yet, y'all gonna think that y'all gonna make this hype campaign some more, which I've been talking about for 2 seasons now, about the hype campaign for the Sixers and how it went nowhere. And that's what y'all gonna bank on this year? Don't tell me anymore that the team is young. Don't tell me that. No one wants to hear that anymore. You know that most of this team on the Sixers needs to be blown up. You know that. But of course, no one really wants to come here. Why? Because the only way you're going to get them to come here is if you throw a ton of money at them. You should know how the saying goes for the Philadelphia 76ers in the past, 10 years? If you want to get paid, you come to Philadelphia. If you want to win a ring or competition, you go somewhere else. That's what the front office has made this franchise as a joke. And speaking of jokes, I want to talk about the NBA Finals. Because this is the first thing I'm going to say about the NBA Finals. Now that the NBA Finals is over, has anyone been fined for the flopping? No. Not at all. No flopping fines in the finals to make this such a horrible travesty. And I want to talk about this a little more because Nike had came out and said that before Game 6, they came out and, LeBron James shoes came out, and in the insert, it said, "Congratulations to the 2-time NBA Finals champion," before Game 6. That's right. So now, you're going to tell me that this hasn't been planned, huh? And that's not all. Because for everyone who keeps thinking that this guy's the greatest basketball player in the world, he's a talent, but as far as I'm concerned, he's not anymore with all that flopping. If that's what you have to do to win a ring, I don't want to hear it. And now, even a fan came out and said that he's questioning LeBron's character. But he's not the only one to call out LeBron James on this. No. Even professional wrestlers, that's right, the masters of flopping, even they saw what LeBron James was doing and called him out on it. But that's not all. After the joke that the finals was, let's get something straight. The Miami Heat, as we all know, went and partied, and for their celebration. Which, hey, if they want to do, that's fine. But Danny Green, that's right, of the San Antonio Spurs, goes and parties with the Miami Heat afterwards. Who does this? Seriously, they just beat you in the finals, and you go and party with them? With the opposing team? This is no. This is uncalled for, and it goes to show you that NBA players just don't care anymore about competition. I want to put this real quick. LeBron James came out and said afterwards that when people said that Danny Green was out there partying, he says Danny Green came all the way to the party. That's right, to congratulate him, and then he decided to leave. If you believe that, you're a damn idiot. All right, he could have called a brother, he could have texted a brother, he could have tweeted a brother. I'm not trying to hear all of a sudden he had to go all the way to the championship party, and just say, "I'm here for 3 seconds, congratulations, I'm gonna leave." You have to be stupid to believe that. There's no way in hell that happened. No way. He went and he partied, and that's what it came down to. But that's not all. No. All right, because Miami Heat fans, during this series, like I said, we always talk about the bandwagoners. Well, when the Miami Heat was losing, the Miami Heat fans decided, hey, we're not going to stay for the game. We're going to walk out the stadium. And then when the Miami Heat came back to win, they wanted to get back into the stadium. And when they couldn't get back into the stadium, they rioted. That's right. Now, people, anybody who's ever been to a stadium game, once you leave the stadium, there's no getting back in. That's what it comes down to. So for you to think that you have some type of exception to the rule where it's okay to all of a sudden get back in because your team is all of a sudden winning, that's garbage. Once you leave. Bottom line, you do not riot. But that's not all. To show you just how, I won't say classless, but just how phony, that's right, phony that Miami Heat fans are, check out what happened with the celebration after they won the finals, in the streets, because we couldn't find any Miami Heat fans anywhere. And you want to know why you couldn't find any Miami Heat fans? Because they were all at the beach. Because they don't give a damn about basketball. But yet, that's okay. This bandwagoning has to stop. It does. And even when Miami Heat fans tried to get in for Game 7, the same people who left in Game 6, Chris Bosh, out of all people, came out and said, "We don't want you back." That's right. Even he came out and said, so I put it like this. You've created this monster, all right, Miami Heat. You create this monster, and now you don't know how to control it. And that's what it comes down to. But when you have one player coming out like Bosh and saying, we don't want bandwagoners, then you have LeBron James saying, it's okay to bandwagon. Because for those who don't know, he just decided, out of nowhere, since the Chicago Blackhawks started winning games, that he's going to now bandwagon the Chicago Blackhawks. Wait a minute, Chicago, Chi-Town, I thought y'all didn't like LeBron James, all right? First, this guy is already a proven frontrunner. We already knew that. If you notice, his favorite teams, the Dallas Cowboys, at one point was the Chicago Bulls, and then he said, he liked the New York Yankees. During those eras, they were the popular teams, all right? And now, all of a sudden, he's a Chicago Blackhawks fan. Get out of here with this. But that's not all. Now that he decides that he likes the Chicago Blackhawks, then ESPN, that's right, the LeBron Center, they decided, that's right, that they were going to overshadow the Chicago Blackhawks Stanley Cup win with LeBron James' tweet.
Twitterless Neil with your social media reaction to the Chicago win. LeBron James, congrats to Patrick Kane, that's 88P Kane, and the Chicago Blackhawks are winning the Stanley Cup. What a feeling.
So let me get this straight, Sports Center, LeBron Center. You showed a package of the Chicago Blackhawks winning the Stanley Cup. And then afterwards, you don't show the locker room celebration. You don't show the players talking. You don't show the hard work that went into winning that Stanley Cup. You don't show the fans celebrating in the streets. You don't show any of that. You show LeBron James congratulating the Chicago Blackhawks on Twitter. Which Danny Green, that's right, could have, congratulated LeBron James on Twitter. Are you serious? And I'm supposed to sit and believe all of this. That's what you're saying. I'm supposed to just take it in stride. You do understand the level of idiocy that's going on here, right? But yet, that's okay. For some reason. Look, the Chicago Blackhawks, for anyone who's ever counted them out, I said at the beginning of the year, you had to watch the Chicago Blackhawks. I said during the playoffs, you had to watch the Chicago Blackhawks. And a number of you guys on Twitter knew that. Because the way they played in the beginning of the season, you should have known. The statistics has said, and they showed it plenty of times on multiple stations, for a team to win that many games straight, were primed to win the Stanley Cup. The facts, the figures didn't lie this time. There were a number of times the Chicago Blackhawks were in trouble, but they came back, especially when they played Detroit, okay? But you can't take anything away from the Chicago Blackhawks. And a lot of people, especially LeBron Center, trying to, and I'll put it like this, trying to compare the Chicago Blackhawks to the Miami Heat. Last I checked, the Chicago Blackhawks weren't flopping. And the last I checked, the last time the Chicago Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup, they actually lost pieces. Good pieces. That's right. They had contract problems. And they had to get rid of people. But yet, no one wants to talk about that. They are nowhere near the Miami Heat. If anything, they're better than the Miami Heat because of the things they had to go through. And as much as I don't like the Chicago Blackhawks, being a Flyers fan, as the way they beat us in the Stanley Cup, you have to give them credit. Congratulations, Chicago Blackhawks and their fans. They're real fans. Don't all of a sudden tell me all these people are going to start running to them all of a sudden. It's ridiculous. But this is what happens in sports. And this is how they try to keep winners on track. All right, this is how you get all this exposure when it comes to media. Because like I told you before, the media are frauds just as bad as the people on Twitter are frauds who think they're media. I'm not media. I'll just tell you the truth. I'm not media. I don't plan on being media. Until I see a big-ass paycheck coming my way, I don't plan on it. And even so, there's got to be something written that says I can say what I need to say. But that's what it comes down to, right? Anyways, this has been a good time for me. It really has. I will talk next time in sports. We have to talk about these sneaker releases and these riots and these killings that's going on. It is a big deal. I will talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. I'm out.